If you have to fight, then do it well. That seems to be the central theme in Sun Tzu's Art of War. In Thomas Cleary's translation of the book, he emphasizes that the book is heavily influenced by Taoism. That means he treats war and fighting in a very balanced way. Do your best not to fight, but if you have to fight, then do it well. Being heavily influenced by Taoism means you accept and value cycles, specifically both aspects of a cycle. You accept destruction and creation. You accept death and life. You accept war and peace. Both of these are parts of life that you accept and work with. You're not wasting your time wishing the situation was different. Rather, you choose to make it different through choice and the actions that flow from those choices. What we're curious about here is how this impacts mental training. How does accepting war and fighting help you? And how does this help you choose how to fight? The Art of War was written during the Warring States period in China. This was about 300 or 400 BCE. This was during the same time as Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching and the time of Confucius. Cleary's translation emphasizes that the art of war helps us understand mass psychology. And I would add that it helps us understand and do self-inquiry work. Here's a Taoist verse that ties these concepts together through the lens of the warrior. Skilled warriors of old were subtle, mysteriously powerful, so deep they were unknowable. You value this self-inquiry work because you're not excluding one aspect of reality. You're not excluding one part of the cycle. You include both so that you can perceive reality as it is. You include war and peace, not just peace. The verse helps you understand the subtle and mysterious power that warriors have. They're not easily uprooted. They have this calm, grounded presence. Self-inquiry helps you understand a truer sense of self. Sun Tzu states, "So it is said that if you know others and know yourself, you will not be imperiled in 100 battles. If you do not know others but know yourself, you win one and lose one. If you do not know others and do not know yourself, you will be imperiled in every single battle." You can't navigate challenges if you neither know yourself nor you know others. And even if you think you know yourself, you need to be able to navigate challenges. And that means integrating yourself with others through an understanding of relationships. To meet challenges means you have an expanded understanding of yourself. You understand yourself and you understand others through the lens of inextricable interconnection. You can't have peace without the ability to fight and protect yourself. The first verse in The Art of War emphasizes the importance of studying war. So let's look at this through the lens of two different translators. Thomas Cleary translates it as, "Military action is important to the nation. It is the ground of death and life, the path of survival and destruction. So it is imperative to examine it." D.E. Tarver translates it as, "Conflict is essential to the development of a person or a people. In its borders you will find life and death, success and destruction. You face conflict in everything you do. You must understand it. You must study it thoroughly. Conflict and stress is essential for your learning and your growth." The Chinese strategist Zhuge Liang puts this concept in plain language. Civilization requires the existence of military preparedness. It's for this reason that beasts have claws and fangs. When they are joyful, they play with each other. When angry, they attack each other. Humans have no claws or fangs, so they make armor and weapons to help defend themselves. The ability to fight is in our very nature. You can fight when needed, and you can choose how to fight. The first aspect of fighting is to seek common ground with others. Sun Tzu states, even people who dislike each other, if in the same boat, will help each other out in trouble. This begins with accepting that other people have a right to exist. Other people have a right to their perspective. Doesn't mean that their perspective is right, but it means that that's your starting point. Acceptance is your starting point. You find common ground through collaboration. Sun Tzu's dictum is, to win without fighting is best. Yet you still need to know how to fight. Why? Because it's a natural part of how life is. I'm going to define fighting here as exerting effort. This might be in a life and death situation, something very extreme, or it might be just a benign conversation that you have or disagreement that you have with your partner. And you have a choice with how to fight. Your first choice is fighting with the situation. Here you're seeking collaboration. This is choosing life. You and the other person win without fighting. Or, if that doesn't work, your choice is to fight against the situation. Here you're seeking competition. This is where you choose death because choosing life wasn't an option. You need to know how to fight in collaborative and competitive ways. Fighting tenets and strategies can be applied to both ways of fighting. Fighting will happen, will occur, so you need to study it and be prepared for it. In Thomas Cleary's introduction, he states, the art of war pinpoints anger and greed as fundamental causes of defeat. According to Sun Tzu, it is the unemotional, reserved, calm, detached warrior who wins, not the hothead seeking vengeance and not the ambitious seeker of fortune. Remaining calm and grounded under pressure is fundamental for being a warrior. It's foundational for being able to fight well. And then when you fight, you can apply fighting strategies. Sun Tzu states that the keys to victory are in adaptability and inscrutability. Well, let's look at adaptability here. He uses water as a metaphor to understand the genius of adaptability. Military formation is like water. So a military force has no constant formation. Water has no constant shape. The ability to gain victory by changing and adapting according to the opponent is called genius. Being adaptable is not a weakness. It allows mental flexibility, which is an important aspect of how we approach mental training. It allows you to learn. It allows you to collaborate. It allows you to fight with the situation. Water is adaptable, but it has a direction. It has a goal. Gravity's pull gives it a direction toward its goal. Well, you need a goal also to give you that direction. The weakness in adaptability is if you lose sight of your goal. Without a goal, you adapt to what is easiest to skirt the stress. This leaves you nowhere meaningful. With a goal, you stay engaged in the stress that stands between you and your goal. That helps you navigate the stress along the path of least resistance toward your goal. What is inscrutability? It's defined as something that's impossible to understand or interpret. Sun Tzu describes it this way. Be extremely subtle, even to the point of formlessness. Be extremely mysterious, even to the point of soundlessness. Thereby you can be the director of the opponent's fate. Reacting creates a certain form of behavior that other people can easily recognize. Being formless means that you don't react in a predictable way. Formlessness makes you inscrutable to others, but you can also perceive in others what's seemingly inscrutable. You can see what could happen in situations before they become visible. Knowing how to fight begins with perceiving what's invisible, perceiving what seems inscrutable. Sun Tzu states, to perceive victory when it is known to all is not really skillful. Zhang Yu, another Chinese strategist, commented on the verse this way. What everyone knows is what has already happened or become obvious. What the aware individual knows is what has not yet taken shape, what has not yet occurred. You perceive what seems inscrutable by seeing what hasn't happened yet, what lies below the surface of what's obvious. You expand awareness to improve perception. An example of this is being able to perceive the moods of others and then the behaviors that could manifest from them. Is their mood irritable? That could lead to violence. Perceiving that changes how you interact with them. You may choose to remain silent, but keep your awareness peaked. Is their mood sad? That could lead to withdrawal. Perceiving that changes how you interact with them. You find ways to get them engaged. You expand perception to perceive what's not obvious. This helps you perceive what's seemingly inscrutable. This helps you choose how to fight. Being in balance begins with integrating into the environment. You can pay attention to the wildlife. For example, Sun Tzu states, if birds start up, there are ambushers there. If the animals are frightened, there are attackers there. If birds are gathered there, the place has been vacated. Paying attention creates situational awareness. Birds start up because they sense a threat, a stressor, so they seek balance by leaving. Or birds gather there because they don't sense a threat. They're comfortable and in balance already where they are. Too much of anything makes you out of balance. Sun Tzu has a verse for this. When you do battle, even if you are winning, if you continue for a long time, it will dull your forces and blunt your edge. Li Quan is another Chinese strategist that commented on the art of war, and he likens being out of balance to fire. As the classic Spring and Autumn Annals says, war is like a fire. If you do not put it out, it will burn itself out. Thomas Cleary puts it in a helpful context for fighting. The strategy in the art of war is as much in knowing what not to do and when not to do it as it is in knowing what to do and when to do it. This is discernment and timing. You know what to do and when it's appropriate to do it. This keeps you in balance. You can avoid fighting because you have this situational awareness, and you can choose to fight when that balance is disrupted. Examining and studying fighting helps you know yourself and to know others. It helps you do this self-inquiry work. Practicing how to fight embodies this self-knowledge within you. It allows Sun Tzu's first recommendation: to win without fighting is best. We expand our understanding of fighting to exerting effort when you're in a stressful situation. You can choose how to fight. You can fight in collaborative ways, fighting with the situation. You can be like water to process yourself through a situation. And you can also fight against the situation in more competitive ways. You expand awareness to perceive what's seemingly inscrutable. This creates situational awareness. It helps you discern what to do or what not to do. And it helps you improve your timing about when to do something or when to delay. In life, you have to fight. Knowing how to fight gives you options. It helps you navigate challenges so you can learn, survive, and thrive. Expand your perception to create situational awareness. This is going to improve your discernment and your timing. It helps your discernment because it helps you know what to do and what not to do. And it helps your timing by knowing when to do it or when to not take action, when to delay. The first part of situational awareness is waking up, which from a mental training perspective means you're not lost in thought. Now, I covered this in Warrior Lesson number 16, the unmoved mind of awareness. This helps you observe the mind so you can direct your attention more intentionally. And you direct it intentionally by using EBOM. This is Expanded Body Observant Mind. And I covered this in Warrior Lesson number 13, which is a mental training tool number 1 for the body. These two lessons keep you awake with attention focused in two directions, inwardly and outwardly. So you have this situational awareness. So let's build on that here in this lesson. To develop this discernment and this timing, we need to expand our perception. And we do this by stepping back. Here's the drill. You perceive yourself as existing right behind your eyes, and this creates a strong sense of location. It narrows perception. It diminishes your ability to have this situational awareness. Rather, step back and expand your focus. Soften your gaze and imagine stepping back. This diminishes your perception of being located behind your eyes. It expands your perception so you can pick up subtleties via EBOM. Stepping back and expanding your gaze makes you more aware of your surroundings. It creates this situational awareness, and it helps you perceive what's seemingly inscrutable.